just heartbroken over her Uncle Elwood. Elwood P. Dowd. That's his name.
Elwood P. Dowd. His age?
47 on the 24th of April. He's Taurus. Taurus the bull. I'm Leo, and Myrtle's on a cusp.
47. Is he married?
No, Elwood never married. He always stayed at home with Mother. Oh, he was such a good homeboy. Elwood just loved his home.
You have him with you now?
Yes. He's in a cab down the street. You see, I paid the driver $1 just to watch him, but I didn't dare say anything else. You can't explain these things to perfect strangers.
Oh, Wilson, would you step down to a taxi in the driveway and ask Mr. Dowd if you would be good enough to step up to room number 24, South Wing G?
Ask him?
Yes. This is his sister, Mrs. Simmons.
Why, certainly. We got to escort him.
Thank you.
The rate's here, Mrs. Simmons. You'll find them printed on this card.
That'll all be taken care of by my mother's estate. The late Marcella Penny Dowd. You see, Judge Gaffney is our attorney.
All right, now I'll go see if Dr. Sanderson can see you now.
Oh, Dr. Sanderson? Why, no, I want to see Dr. Chumley himself.
Oh, Mrs. Simmons, Dr. Sanderson is the one who sees everybody. Dr. Chumley sees no one.
Well, Dr. Chumley is the head of this institution, isn't he? He is a psychiatrist, isn't he?
A psychiatrist? Dr. Chumley is much more than that. He's a psychiatrist with a national reputation. When people have mental breakdowns, they at once think of Dr. Chumley.
This is Dr. Chumley's office. Now, I want you to march yourself in there and tell him who's here. If he knows who's in here, he'll come out here.
Oh no, I wouldn't dare disturb him, Mrs. Simmons. I would be discharged if I did.
Well, I don't want to be pushed on to any second fiddle.
Dr. Sanderson is nobody's second fiddle. He's young, of course, and he hasn't been at medical school very long, but Dr. Chumley tried out 12, and he kept Dr. Sanderson. He's really very wonderful. To the patients, of course.
Well, all right. Tell him I'm here.
Right away.
Come on, Vita. Isn't this wonderful?
Oh, come on!
Mrs. Simmons?
Dear, I'm so sorry. I'm startled me. You're Dr. Sanderson?
Yes. Will you please be seated?
Yes, of course, thank you. You don't think I'm jumpy like this all the time. I'm just nervous.
Of course not. Miss Kelly tells me that you're concerned about your brother. Is it Dowd? Elwood P. Dowd?
Yes, I'm sorry, it's just so hard, Doctor.
Naturally, these things are easy for the families of patients. I understand.
It's what Elwood's doing to himself. You see, that's the thing. Myrtle has a nice friend. She's young. She has her whole life ahead of her. That's my daughter.
Your daughter. Tell me, how long has it been since you began to notice any peculiarity in your brother's actions?
Well, I suppose I started noticing things right when Mother died and Myrtle May and I moved back home from Des Moines. I started noticing that he...
That you what, Mrs. Simmons? Take your time.
I'm sorry, Doctor. I'm sorry. I just have to ask you, is it understood that everything said here today is under the strictest confidence?
That's understood.
Because it's a slap in the face to everything we've stood for in this community, the way Elwood is acting now.
Mrs. Simmons, tell me more about your brother.
Well, for one thing, he drinks.
To excess?
To excess? Why, if you don't call excess, never let a day go by without stepping into one of those cheap taverns, sitting around with all the riffraff, people I've never heard of, giving people food and money, playing cards with them, inviting them to the house, and when here I am trying to get Myrtle May started with a nice group of young people. Why, if you don't call that excess, I don't know what is!
I didn't doubt your statement, Mrs. Simmons. I merely asked if your brother drinks.
Yes, I certainly say Elwood drinks. And I want him committed out here permanently because I cannot stand another day without Harvey. We have to set a place at the table for Harvey. We have to move over on the sofa and make room for Harvey. We have to answer the telephone when Elwood calls and wants to speak to Harvey. And then this afternoon at the party with Mrs. Chauvenet. I'm sorry, I can't do it anymore. I didn't even know about Harvey when I moved back here. Doctor, don't you think it would have been a little bit kinder of Mother to have called and told me about Harvey? Now, be honest now, don't you?
I really couldn't say.
Well, I can't get something! What happened?
This person you call Harvey, who is he?
He's a rabbit.
Perhaps, but just who is he? Some companion, someone your brother has picked up in these bars of whom you disapprove?
Doctor, Harvey is a big white rabbit, about 6 feet high. Is it 6 feet and a half? Heaven knows I should always been around the house long enough.
Mrs. Simmons, let me understand this.
Doctor,
You're saying that
must I keep repeating myself? My brother claims that his closest friend is this big white rabbit, this rabbit named Harvey. Don't you understand? You know, would do everything together. Elwood buys railroad tickets, theater tickets for the both of them. Elwood was so lonesome. He needed to bring something home. Why couldn't he have brought something home that was, I don't know, human?
Mrs. Simmons.
I keep asking myself, Elwood was so lonesome. Why, he did have me, didn't he? He had Myrtle May, didn't he, Doctor? I tell you something that I've never told anyone before. Just once in a while, only sometimes. I see that big white rabbit myself. Oh, isn't it horrible? I haven't even told that to Myrtle May.
Mrs. Simmons.
And the worst part is that he's every bit as big as Elwood says he is. No, Doctor, don't you repeat that to anybody like I'm ashamed of it.
I can see you've been under a great nervous strain recently.
Yes, I certainly have been.
Grief over your mother's death has depressed you considerably.
Nobody knows how much.
Been losing sleep.
Nobody could sleep with all of this going on.
Short-tempered over trifles.
You try living with those two and see how your temper holds up.
Loss of appetite.
Nobody could eat at a table with my brother and a big white rabbit. Well, I'm done. I've had it. I'll sell the house, become executor of Elwood Estate, and me and Myrtle will be able to live in peace. I'm done. I can't stand it.
Of course, Mrs. Simmons, of course. You're tired.
Yes, I am.
You've been worrying a great deal.
I suppose I have been.
Listen, now I'm gonna help you.
Oh, thank you, Doctor.
Listen, you stay right here. I'll be right back.
Thank you. Oh, I'm just gonna go down to the cab, grab some of Elwood's things. I'll be right back.
Why didn't somebody come sooner?
I didn't hear you, Doctor.
Mrs. Simmons. Mrs. Simmons. Sound the gong, Wilson. That poor woman must not leave the grounds.
She's been with the getaway, huh?
Her condition is very serious. Go after her. Main gate. Henry, it's Dr. Sanderson. Allow no one out of the main gate. We're looking for a patient. I didn't want to leave her alone, but nobody came.
Wilson doesn't sound, Doctor.
Whatever you available, Miss Kelly.
Number 13, Upper West Rain is ready, Doctor.
Have her taken there immediately. I'll prescribe preliminary treatment. And we must contact her brother, Dowd, Elwood P. Dowd. Please get him on the telephone for me immediately.
But Doctor, I didn't know it was the woman who needed the treatment. She said it was for her brother.
Of course she did. That's the oldest dodge in the world, always used by a cunning type of psychopath. She apparently knew her brother was out to commit her, so she came out here to discredit him. Please get him on the phone.
But Doctor, I thought the woman was all right. So I had Wilson take the brother up to number 24 South Wing G. He's there now.
You had Wilson take the brother, and no gags, please, Kelly. You're not serious, are you?
Oh, I did, Doctor, I did. Oh, Doctor, I'm terribly sorry.
Oh, if you're sorry, that just fixes everything!
I'll do it, Doctor, I'll do it. Miss Dunphy, Miss Dunphy. Miss Dunphy, will you please unlock door number 24? Yes, and give Mr. Dowd his clothes, and
Have him taken out of the office immediately.
have him taken down to the office immediately. There's been a terrible mistake, and Dr. Sanderson wants to explain.
Explain, apologize!
Thank heaven they hadn't put him in the hydro tub yet. She'll let him out now.
Beautiful and dumb, too. It's almost too good to be true.
Doctor, I feel terrible. I didn't know. Judge Gaffney called and said that Mrs. Simmons and her brother would be out here. And, well, when they got here... Oh, you don't have to be sarcastic.
Oh, don't die. Stop your worrying. We'll squirm out of it somehow.
Where are you going?
I've got to tell the chief about it. Kelly may want to handle it himself.
He'll be furious. I know he will. He'll die and then he'll terminate me.
The responsibility's all mine, Kelly.
Oh, no, Doctor. Tell him it was all my fault.
I never mention your name, Kelly. Except in my sleep.
But this man down.
Look, Kelly, just keep him here. I'll be right back.
But what shall I say? What shall I do? He'll be furious.
Look, he'll probably be fit to be tied, but he's a man, isn't he?
I guess so. His name is Mr.
Go into your old routine. You know, the eyes, the swish, the works. I'm immune, but I've seen it work with some people, some of the patients out here. Keep him here, Kelly. Even if you have to do a striptease.
Oh, well, you're wonderful, Dr. Sanderson. You're just about the most wonderful person I've ever met in my entire life.
Yeah, but how about lending me a hand here just the same?
What?
That's Simmons' date.
Oh, did you catch her?
Slick as a whistle. She was coming along the path, humming a little tune. When I jump out from behind a tree and says, "Sister, there's a man who wants to see you." Should have heard her yell. She is wacky, all right.
Just take her up to number 13, Upper West Range.
She's up there now. I brought her in through the diet kitchen. She is kicking and screaming like hell. I'll hold her down if you come up and undress her.
Just a second, Wilson. Dr. Sanderson told me to stay here until her brother comes down.
Make it snappy.
You're Mr. Dowd?
Elwood P.
I'm Miss Kelly.
Let me give you one of my cards. You should want to call me at this number. Don't call me at that one because that's the old one.
Thank you.
Perfectly all right, and if you should lose it, my dear, don't worry, I have plenty more.
Won't you have a chair, please, Mr. Dowd?
Thank you. I'll have two, allow me.
Dr. Sanderson is very anxious to talk to you. He'll be in a moment. Please, be seated.
After you, my dear.
Oh, I really couldn't thank you. I'm in and out all the time, but you mustn't mind me. Please sit down.
After you.
Can I get you a magazine to look at, Mr. Dowd?
I'd much rather look at you, Miss Kelly, if you don't mind. You really are very lovely.
Well, thank you. Some people don't seem to think so.
Some people are blind. That is often brought to my attention. And now, Miss Kelly, I would like to
Mr.
have
Dowd?
Elwood P. Let me give you one of my
Mr.
cards.
Dowd, I'm Dr. Lyman Sanderson, Dr. Chalmers' assistant out here.
Well, good for you. I'm happy to know you. How are you, Doctor?
That's going to depend on you, I'm afraid. Would you please have a seat? I see you've met Miss Kelly, Mr. Dowd.
I have had that pleasure, and I want both of you to meet a very dear friend
Later
of mine.
on, I'll be glad to now. If you'd please be seated, because first I want to say...
After Miss Kelly.
Sit down, Kelly. Is that chair quite comfortable, Mr. Dowd?
Yes, thank you. Would you care to try it?
No. Can you get Mr. Dowd an ashtray, please?
Stop here.
Is it too warm in here, Mr. Dowd? Would you like me to open up a window for you?
Mr. Dowd, Dr. Sanderson wants to know if you should open the window.
That's entirely up to him. I want to presume to live his life for him.
Now then, Mr. Dowd, I see that you're not the type of man to be won over by any high-flown phrases or beating around the bush.
Is that so, Doctor?
You have us at a disadvantage here. You know it, we know it. Let's lay our cards out on the table.
Well, that certainly appeals to me, Doctor, if I could just grab...
Best way in the long run, people are people no matter where you go.
That is very often the case.
And being human are therefore liable to mistakes. Miss Kelly and I have made a mistake here this afternoon, and we'd like to explain it to you.
It wasn't Dr. Sanderson's fault, Mr. Dowd. It was mine.
A human family, as I said.
Well, I find it very interesting nonetheless. You and Miss Kelly here? This afternoon, you say?
We do hope to understand, Mr. Dowd.
Oh, yes, yes. These things are often the basis of a long and warm friendship.
The responsibility is, of course, not hers, but mine.
Your attitude may be old-fashioned, Doctor, but I like it.
Now, if I'd seen your sister first, this would have been an entirely different story.
Well, now there you surprise me. I think the world in all of Vita, but I suppose she'd seen her day.
You must not attach any blame to her. Her condition is very serious. She came in here insisting that you were in need of treatment, and that's perfectly ridiculous.
Vita shouldn't be upset about me. I get along fine.
Exactly, but she had already spoken to Miss Kelly, and there had been a call from her family lawyer, Judge Gaffney.
Yes, I know him. Know his wife, too. Nice people.
Your sister, she was extremely nervous. She began going on a heated tirade on your drinking.
That was Vita.
Does your sister drink, Mr. Dowd?
No, Doctor, no. I don't believe Vita has ever taken a drink.
Well, I'm going to surprise you. I believe she has and does. Constantly.
I am certainly surprised.
But it's not her alcoholism that's going to be the base of my diagnosis. No, it is far more serious than that. It's when she began talking so emotionally about this big white rabbit. Harvey, yes, I believe she called him Harvey.
Harvey is his name.
She claimed that you were persecuting her with this Harvey.
I have been persecuting with Harvey. Vita shouldn't feel that way. And now, before we go any further,
Let me make my point first, Mr. Dowd. This condition of your sister's, it didn't just spring up overnight. It stems from trauma.
From what?
From trauma, spelled T-R-A-U-M-A, it means shock. There's nothing unusual about it. There's the birth trauma, the shock to the act of being born.
That's the one we never get over.
You have a nice sense of humor, Dowd, doesn't he, Miss Kelly?
Oh, yes, doctor.
May I say the same about both of you?
To sum it all up, your sister's condition is serious, but I can help her. She must, however, remain out here temporarily.
I've always felt that Vita should have everything she needs.
Exactly.
But I wouldn't want Vita to stay out here unless she liked it out here and wanted to stay out here.
Of course. Miss Kelly, did Wilson get what he went after?
Yes, doctor.
And what was Mrs. Simmons' reaction?
Not unusual, doctor.
Mr. Dowd, if this were an ordinary delusion, in other words, if it was something reflected on the memory picture, if it was something she had seen once before, that would be one thing, but it stands to reason nobody's ever seen a 6-foot-tall white rabbit.
Not very often, Doctor.
I like you, Dowd.
I like you too, Doctor. And Miss Kelly here, I like her too.
So, she must remain out here temporarily. Under these conditions, I would quit my own grandmother.
Does your grandmother drink too?
It's just an expression. If you would sign these commitment papers as next of kin, it's just a formality.
You better have Vita do that, Doctor. She always does all the signing and managing for the family. She's good at it.
We can't disturb her now.
Perhaps I better talk it over with Judge Gaffney?
You can explain it all to him later. Tell him that I advised it, and it isn't as if you couldn't drop by any time you'd like and make inquiries. We're glad to have you. Would you like a visitor's pass? I can, when would you like to come back? Wednesday? Friday?
You and Miss Kelly have been so pleasant, I can come back right after dinner. About an hour?
Well, we're pretty busy around here, but I guess that's all right.
I don't really have to go right now. I'm not very hungry.
You know what? I'm going to tell you what you might like to do, Mr. Dowd.
What might I like to do?
We don't usually do this, but just to make sure that in your mind, your sister is in good hands, why don't you take a look around the place? You go down there's the occupational therapy room, and then beyond that, the conservatory, library, and the diet kitchen.
For Vita's sake, I believe I'd better do that, Doctor.
You know, I will say for a layman, you have an unusually acute perception to psychiatric problems.
Is that a fact, Doctor? I never thought I knew anything about it. Nobody does, do you think?
The good psychiatrist is not found under every bush.
You have to pick the right bush. Since we all seem to have enjoyed those so much, let us keep right on. I'd like to invite you to come with me down to Charlie's place. When I enjoy people, I like to stay right with them.
How about a rain check?
When?
Miss Kelly and I don't get off work until 10 o'clock. I don't know.
Let us go to Charlie's place at 10 o'clock tonight.
Well,
And you, Miss Kelly?
Dr. Chelmy doesn't approve of members of the staff fraternizing, but perhaps we could manage it.
I'll pick you up out here in a cab at 10 o'clock tonight, and the four of us will spend a happy evening. I want you both to become friends with a very dear friend of mine. You said later on, so later on it will be. Goodbye now.
Now I can breathe again.
Boy, that was a close shave. That man was a reasonable sort of fellow. He was proud. What is to be proud of, I have not the slightest idea, but I played up to that pride. You can get to almost anybody that way, Kelly. I must go check on that Simmons woman now.
Dr. Sanderson,
Yes?
you say you can get to almost anybody. How can you do that?
Takes years of study and specialized training, Kelly. There's only one thing I don't like about this Dowd business.
What's that?
I'm gonna make that date with him. Sure, he's left her a good friend and booster of the sanitarium, but you don't have to go.
Oh,
There's no point in it. I'll have a drink with him, pat him on the back, and then be on my way. I have a date tonight anyways.
oh well, yes, by all means. I didn't intend to go anyway. The idea bored me stiff. I wouldn't go if I never went anywhere again. I wouldn't go if my life depended on it!
What are you getting so emotional about, Kelly?
He may be a peculiar man with funny clothes, but he knows how to act. His manners are perfect!
I saw you giving him the doll eye stare. I didn't miss that.
He wouldn't sit down until I sat down. He told me I was lovely and called me a dear. I'd go to have a drink with him if you weren't going.
Of course you would. And look at him, he doesn't work. All I do is sit around bars all day and drink, all that corny bowing every single time you stood up. Why, Kelly, he's as outdated as a cast iron deer. You're a wonderful girl, Kelly.
Oh, let me tell you something, you.
Dr. Sanderson, Miss Kelly.
Yes, Doctor.
Tell the diners to prune more carefully around my prized dahlias along the fence by the main road. They'll be ready for cutting next week. The difficulty with the woman with the big white rabbit, has it been smoothed over?
Yes, I spoke to her brother. I gave him full visiting privileges.
She's to see no one tonight, not anyone at all. You told me.
Yes, Doctor.
I will now be going upstairs with you to look in on this woman. Maybe that we can use my formula 977 on her. I'll help in prescribing the treatment.
Thank you, Doctor.
And now may I ask, what is that hat and coat doing on that table? Whose is it?
I don't know. Was it Dowd's, Miss Kelly?
No, he had his hat on, Doctor. Perhaps it belongs to a relative of one of the patients.
There may be some identification. Two holes cut into the crown of this hat.
That's strange.
Must be some new fad. Just put it away, hang it up, and get it out of here.
Hello, Dr. Chomley.
There you are.
How was every little thing?
There, Wilson, just fair.
Listen, somebody's gonna have to lend me a hand with that Simmons dame. Order a straining jacket or something. She is terrible. Oh, forget me, didn't ya? Well, I got her corset off all by myself. Thank you very much.
You're actually going up to look in on this woman right now.
She's in the hydro tub now. Left the water running on her.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Oh, Willie, remember your promise? Oh, hello, Dr. Sanderson. Willie, you haven't forgotten Dr. McClure's cocktail party this afternoon. We
That's
promised to look at Willie.
I have to go look in on a patient.
It's a little quick diagnosis, Willie. We don't want to be late to the party. Time to see the inside of that house. Oh, good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Mrs. Chumley, Dr. Chumley's wife.
I'm glad to know that. Dow is my name, L with T. Let me give you one of my cards. If you should want to call me at this number. Don't call me at that one because that's the old one.
Thank you. Is there something I can do for you?
What did you have in mind?
You seem to be looking for someone.
Yes, I am. I'm looking for Harvey. I went off without him.
Harvey. Is he a patient here?
No. As I understand it, he is just my best friend. Yeah.
Well, does he work here?
Oh, no. Harvey is what you might call my closest companion. He came out here with me and Vita this afternoon.
Where was he when you last saw him?
In that chair there with his hat and coat on the table.
Oh, there doesn't seem to be any hat and coat around. Perhaps he left.
Apparently, I don't see him anywhere. Excuse me.
Well, what was that word that you just said? A hookah?
Yes, that's it.
Is that something new?
Oh, no. As I understand it, that's something very old.
Oh, really? I've never happened to hear it before.
I'm not too surprised at that. I had it myself until I met him. I do hope you get an opportunity to meet him. I'm sure he would be quite taken with you.
Really? That's nice of you to say so, I'm sure.
Not at all. If Harvey happens to take a liking to people, he expresses himself quite definitely. Harvey takes his time making his mind about people. Choosy, you see.
Well, that's not such a bad way to be in this day and age.
Harvey is fond of my sister Vita. That's because Harvey is fond of me, and Vita and I come from the same family. Now, you'd think that feeling would be mutual, wouldn't you? But Vita doesn't seem to care for Harvey. Too bad, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know, Mr. Dowd. I gave up a long time ago expecting my family to like my friends. It's useless.
But we must keep on trying.
Well, there's no harm in trying, I suppose.
Because if Harvey has said to me once, he said to me 1,000,000 times, Mr. Dowd, I would do anything for you. Mrs. Shelley,
Yes.
did you know that Mrs. McElhaney's Aunt Rose is going to be dropping in on her unexpectedly tonight from Cleveland?
Wait, no, I didn't.
Do you know Mrs. McElhaney? She lives next door to us. She is a wonderful woman. Harvey told me about her Aunt Rose. That's an interesting little news item, and you are perfectly free to pass it around.
I don't happen to know anyone named Mrs.
Mrs. McElhaney, would you care to come into town with me now, my dear? I would be glad to buy you a drink.
Oh, thank you, but I'm waiting for Dr. Chumley, and if he came down and found me gone, he'd be liable to raise... He'd be irritated.
We wouldn't want that, would we? Some other time, maybe?
I can tell you what I'll do, however.
What will you do, however? I'm interested.
If your friend comes in while I'm still here, I'd be glad to give him a message for you.
Would you do that? I would certainly appreciate
Oh,
that.
no trouble at all. I'll write it down on the back of this. So what would you like me to tell your friend if he comes while I'm still here?
Ask him to meet me downtown if he has no other plans.
Meet Mr. Dowd downtown. Any particular place downtown?
He knows where. Harvey knows this town like a book.
Harvey, you know where. Harvey what?
Just Harvey.
I'll tell you what.
What?
Doctor and I are going right downtown to 12th and Montview. Dr. McClure's had my cocktail party.
A cocktail party at 12th and Montview.
We're driving there in a few minutes. We could give your friend a lift into town.
I'd hate to impose on you, but I would certainly appreciate that.
Oh, no trouble at all. Dr. McClure's having this party for his sister from Wichita.
Well, I didn't know Dr. McClure had a sister in Wichita.
Oh, you know Dr. McClure?
No.
Oh.
You're quite sure you haven't time to come into town and have a drink with me?
Oh, I really couldn't, but thank you just the same.
Some other time, perhaps?
Thank you.
You've been very pleasant, and I hope to see you again.
Yes, so do I.
You can't miss Harvey. He's very tall,
Like this.
Goodbye now.
That Simmons woman is uncooperative, Doctor. She refuses to admit to me that she has this big rabbit. She insists it's her brother's.
Yes, Doctor.
Give her 2 of these at 9, another at 10, a trip to the hydro tub at 8 if she continues to be so restless, and 1 more in the morning at 7. Then we'll see if she won't comply, won't we?
Yes, Doctor.
You know where to call me if you need me. Ready, Goo Bear?
Yes. And, Willie, there was a man in here. A man named, he gave me his card. Dowd. L.W.P. Dowd.
That's Mrs. Simmons, brother. I told him he could look around.
She's to see no one tonight. Tell him that.
Oh, he didn't ask to see her? He said he was looking for someone, some friend of his.
And who may that be, Dr. Sanderson?
I don't know, Kelly. Did you see anyone with Mr. Dowd?
No, doctor, not when I saw him.
Oh, well, he said there was. He said he last saw his friend sitting right there with his hat and coat. He seemed quite disappointed.
Dr. Sanderson?
Oh, I wrote his friend's name down on the back of his card. His friend's name was Harvey.
Harvey!
He didn't give a last name, but he mentioned something about him being a hookah. I didn't quite get what that was.
Harvey!
He said his friend was very tall, and well, why are you looking like that, Willie? This was a very nice and polite man. He really asked that we give his friend a lift in town. And if we can't do a favor for someone, then why are we living?
Mrs. Tillman, did you see where Mr. Dowd went?
Give me that hat, by George. We'll find out about this.
Main gate. Henry, it's Dr. Sanderson. Did you see a man in a brown checkered suit go through the main gate? You did? He's gone?
Judge Gaffney. Hello, Judge. Yes, this is Dr. William Chumley, the psychiatrist. Yes, I'm making a routine check on the spelling of someone's name before entering it into our records. Yes, this afternoon you telephoned about having a client of yours committed. How was that name spelled? With a W, not a... Mr. Elwood P. Dowd. Thank you, Judge. That will be all. Sanderson? I believe your name is Sanderson.
Yes, Doctor.
Well, you know that much, do you? You went to medical school. You specialized in the study of psychiatry. You graduated. You went for it. Perhaps they neglected to tell you that a rabbit has large pointed ears? That a hat for a rabbit would be perforated to make room for those ears.
Dowd seemed reasonable enough this afternoon, Doctor.
Doctor, the function of a psychiatrist is to tell the difference between those who are reasonable and those who merely talk and act reasonably. Do you understand what you've done to me?
Dr.
Don't
Chumley.
answer. I'll tell you. You have permitted a psychopathic case to walk off these grounds and roam around town with an overgrown white rabbit. You have subjected me, a psychiatrist, to the humiliation of having to do with all things called a lawyer to find who came out here to commit and who came out here to be committed.
Dr. Chumley,
Just a minute. Wilson, I want you. I will now have to do something I haven't done in 15 years. I'll have to go out after this man, Elwood P. Dowd, and bring him back myself. And when I do bring him back, your connection with this institution is terminated as of that moment! Wilson, get the car! You go back on with Liz and tell him we can't make it. Nurse Kelly, come upstairs with me and let's get this woman out of the town.
I have to tell the cook that we'll be home for dinner. She'll be furious. Oh, Wilson,
Yes, ma'am?
what is a puka?
A what?
A puka.
You can search me, Mrs. Chumley.
I wonder if it'd be the encyclopedia here. They have everything here. I wonder if it's a lodge or what it is. Oh, I don't dare stop to do this now. If Dr. Chumley found me still here, he'd be liable to raise... oh dear.
P-O-O-K-A. Puka, from old Celtic mythology. A fairy spirit in animal form, always very large. The puka appears here and there, now and then, to this one and that one, at his own caprice. A wise but mischievous creature, very fond of rum pots, crack pots, and how are you, Mr. Wilson? How are you, Mr. Wilson? Who in the encyclopedia wants to know? Oh, to hell with this!